Yesterday on Twitter, I saw a tweet that asked, what stock would you like to own for the next 5 years? And I thought, well, there's more than one stock I'd like to own for the next 5 years. So I thought it would be a good idea to put together a portfolio for the next 5 to 6 years based on what I think I want to own. And that's going to be based on the change that I think that's coming to our society, and so I'm going to want to own big tech. I'm going to want to own health cure. I'm going to want to own energy and national defense, because I think that's the change that's going to happen over the next 5 to 6 years, and that's where I want to be invested. So what I've done is put together that exact portfolio, and I'm building it around an investment of $500,000 that I think I can turn into $2.2 million. And that's what I want to do today, is share with you how I built that portfolio and where I think it's going to go. And over the next couple of videos, we're going to dig down deep into which stocks, in fact, are we going to own in our 6-year portfolio that's going from $500,000 to $2.2 million.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
So as I said, the tweet challenged me as to which stock I wanted to own for the next 5 years. I've taken it to 6 years, and I decided I wanted to build a portfolio, not just a stock. I want to build a portfolio based upon what I think is going to happen in the next 6 years, and how I can most efficiently benefit from it. So I have chosen the fields of big tech, health cure, energy, and national defense as to what I want my portfolio to represent. Then what I wanted to do was find out what percentage of my portfolio I wanted in each of those 4 areas. Then I wanted to determine which stocks I wanted to own, and I wanted to base that on their past history, not only of the individual stocks and what I think is going to happen to them in the future, but also the history of the category, such as I have shared with you that big tech over the last 23 years has averaged a return of 35%. And that's based on Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, and NVIDIA, an average of 35%. So I had to ask myself the question, do I think once we get our interest rates and our inflation situation taken care of, and actually artificial intelligence and machine learning and quantum computing come into play, do I believe big tech will equal its performance of the past 20 years and give me a 35% return? I, in my heart, do, but I've geared it down a bit. So what I did was do that for each of the 4 categories: big tech, healthcare, energy, and national defense. So let me take you to the Excel spreadsheet that I created and show you exactly how I broke this down and the stocks. And then in future videos, I'm going to explain in more detail why I chose each of the stocks in each of the categories. But first of all, let's look at the framework. And this is what I recommend you do. You decide what is your portfolio for the next 6 years, what are the categories, what are the allocations by percentage, and what are by dollar, and what do you project it'll be worth. So let's go to the spreadsheet and see if this makes sense. Okay, this is the 6-year portfolio spreadsheet that I've built. And as I said, I've allocated 48% to big tech, 23% to health cure, 16% to energy, and 13% to defense. Now I've got just under $500,000 that I'm allocating. I chose that number because it's easily dividable. You can make it 50,000, you can make it 5,000. You just divide and then you can allocate numbers relative to what you choose to do. I don't expect this as financial advice. I'm just sharing the strategy that I use to implement what I think is going to happen, the change that's going to happen, and then show you how it would be allocated and how I came to the decisions I came to. So here we go. 48% to big tech. You can see the companies that I'm allocating to. I take that 40% and I divide it evenly amongst the 6 companies. And so that basically says that I'm going to start with $40,000 in each one of the 6 for $240 apiece. And then what I did was say that, okay, in the last 23 years, these 6 companies gave an average return of 35%, averaged over the 23 years. I've geared it back to 30%. And I think that's reasonable because they're going to benefit from artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, and the big data that they already own. And I think that's going to be a major part of Digital Revolution 3.0. Then I am very high on health cure. I believe that the pandemic has made it a predominant part of our future, and that we have learned so much as a result of the pandemic that this will change our world from healthcare to health cure. I'm allocating 23% of my portfolio to in there, and I have looks like 7 stocks. I believe that will outperform my big tech by 5%. What I really believe is some of these stocks are going to give me a 100% return average. Some of them are going to give me a 50, and some of them are going to go broke. Okay, so I have allocated them on an average of a 35% return. I'm putting 23% of my $500,000 portfolio, and that represents $16,500 apiece. I then also believe energy is going to remain a part of our future, and I believe it's the carbon energy. I am not putting the weight that some are putting currently on that of wind and solar and electric cars and that thing. I think that will come later. This whole energy category could change to wind power, solar power, electric power over the next 6 years. But on the short term, this is how I'm allocated. You can see the stocks there. Then the final category, 13% towards defense. I believe we are currently in a war posture as a result of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia and as a result of China's aggressive posture, which has said we will go to war over Taiwan. That being said, I know that we as a country have to build up our defense systems. We have to allocate money towards those companies that are going to support the new posture we're going to take relative to deglobalization, which is going to necessitate that we build up our semiconductor position, that we mountain pass. It helps us come up with the rare earth elements that we're going to need, and then that we build our posture in water. And then Lockheed Martin is a direct defense play. So that is my total allocation. I then take the projected growth average and put it across from 2023 to 2029, and you can see I come up with a total portfolio at the end of 2029 of $2.24 million. So that's how I go about it. So that's my answer to the tweet. What stock do I want to own for the next 5 to 6 years? That's the series of stocks. That's the logic I follow. That's the program that I want to project on this YouTube channel. Is I'll share with you my concepts of how I think the world is going to change and how I want to position myself, my portfolio, to take advantage of that change. Will I be right on exactly what I've got now? No, it will change. The key to investing is change. Not only you anticipating the future change, but also being skilled enough to recognize that when change changes and when other things happen. Let's think of it realistically. If we hadn't had the coronavirus in 2000, none of this inflation, none of this interest rate problems would exist. If we had held the same portfolio in 2019, or that we had in 2019, we'd be screwed today. So we have to be in a position to change. To just blindly allocate is not within my nature. My nature is to be involved and to see what is happening, get up every morning and ask myself the question, what changed? And how am I going to react to it? That's what this channel is all about. That's how I get excited about investing, and I want to give that gift to you. I want to share it with you. So if this is the kind of attitude that you have or want to develop, subscribe, and then come to our Discord and get involved. This should not be an individual participation sport. It should be a team sport, and that you should find a group of people that think the way you think and then strategize with those people to improve your lives. I said to a gentleman over Thanksgiving dinner, he asked the question, what should you invest in? And I said, people who are smarter than you. You know, you didn't invent Amazon. You didn't invent Google. But you don't have to in order to benefit from the knowledge of other people. You can invest in Elon Musk if that's what you choose to do. But you have to recognize what the change is and how the world's going to affect your investments. Okay, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm here to help you make better decisions, learn to keep more of what you make by understanding our tax code, and then building wealth. Wouldn't it be nice if through your intelligence and you and I's working together, we could make your children and your grandchildren's lives better in the future? I think that's a gift I want to pass on. Come back tomorrow and we'll talk more about it.